New Jersey guy is with us, presumably from New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live via Skype.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to say hi to everybody here, and I wanted to bring up some concerns I had about energy. Actually, I noticed the last couple of weeks you guys have had it come up to the surface a little bit around renewable energy and global warming and all that stuff. And one of the things that was never really discussed that I find very interesting is this idea of nuclear power, but not your typical nuclear power. And this isn't like burning water kind of technology either. This is actually something real that was actually tested in the 60s and was kind of buried for a long time and recently rediscovered by a nuclear physicist.
What is it?
Maybe you guys have heard of it. It's thorium. The element's thorium, and it's not typically people when they think of thorium, if they know anything about that at all, they might equate it to uranium the way that current nuclear reactors work. But this is a different way of burning thorium. It's a way of burning it as a liquid form, not a solid fuel like normal conventional nuclear uranium reactors.
What does that do differently?
Well, when you have it as a liquid form, it circulates in a circulation path, and so you can feed in more fuel as it happens, as you need it, and pull out the waste as you need it. And there's also some very extraordinary benefits to it as well that I wanted to share with you. There's a lot of safety involved with this. This idea, like I said, it came out in the 60s in the Oak Ridge National Laboratory.
So what happened to the nucleon, for example?
Is that Johnson?
The what?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Johnson.
Hey, how's it going?
The what? Can you make that question understandable?
The Ford Nucleon. It's the 1960 Ford Nucleon was a nuclear-powered vehicle invented by the Ford company
wow.
that never happened for some reason. Like, they made it. It was manufactured and created, and it never became public. I don't know if it's just because of the whole, like, duck and cover paranoia of the 60s, but the Nucleon never became a thing.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because this had nothing to do with the car, the Nucleon, but it was a very strange military endeavor, which was to research the feasibility of a nuclear-powered aircraft. Now, that just sounds kind of crazy on its surface, but one of the design specs was to have obviously a very small reactor to power the thing. Anyway,
is that what you're saying? This thorium stuff is going to allow for smaller reactors?
8 grams of thorium or something like a gram of thorium could like power a city for
really?
Yeah, or something. It's very, very
for how
efficient.
long? Power a city for how long?
I'm making up numbers, so I don't want to say.
Even if you had a golf ball size of thorium in your hand, that would be enough energy for your entire life, you personally.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So what's coming out of this? I mean, you're saying somebody's rediscovered this information? Where's this going?
Yeah, so the Nixon administration kind of like mothballed this project in favor of conventional nuclear reactors that were being developed down in Southern California in his region. So obviously there's a political angle to that. But anyway, back to the technology. It's called a molten salt reactor, and it runs off of melted salt. That's the heat transfer mechanism. And this stuff, because it's a molten salt, it doesn't have to be at a really high pressure. So if there was ever a leak in something like this, it just dribbles out. And it's actually, there's a really interesting safety feature of it called a salt plug. And the whole reactor keeps this part of the plumbing cold with say, like an air conditioner or something, and the salt in that portion of the pipe is frozen. If the reactor gets shut down and has a dangerous condition where there's no energy going to it, that pipe that was kept cold starts to warm up from all the heat, and it melts the plug. And after it melts, all of this liquid fuel that I've been talking about drains harmlessly into these holding tanks underground.
So what you're saying is this new development, which is actually an old development, will actually increase the safety of nuclear power facilities were it actually able to be implemented. But it's my understanding that there aren't any nuclear power facilities being able to be built in the United States. So where's this research being done? Is it even done in the United States?
It is actually being done. There's two companies that are looking into it, and one of them is called Flibe Energy, F-L-I-B-E, down in Huntsville, Alabama. Another one's called Transatomic in Cambridge. And the Chinese, of all people, have really been going after this. And I've been reading online that they've been doing a whole lot of R&D in this area, a lot more than we're doing in terms of the United States.
So this technology could allow for nuclear power stations in various different places, decentralizing the grid. In fact, Johnson's got an article about decentralization to where very small power plants could power very large areas, swaths of city, correct?
Yeah, imagine a municipal power station that would run for hundreds of years without any kind of emissions.
Incredible.
And it's walk away safe.
How far away are we from this? I mean, what's a realistic timetable? Are we talking 5 years, 10 years?
Boy, I mean, I want it sooner than later, but it looks like probably 10, 15. I mean, there's so many regulations when you're dealing with
government's in the way of this one.
Right, it isn't the science on this; it's the government, and that's
what I meant was the science-wise. But yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, right now it's very difficult to build new nuclear facilities, so it'd be nice to see that change. Of course, at the federal level, that'll probably not be changing anytime in our lifetime, unless these companies happen to be very politically persuasive.
I'm looking at an article here that's interesting. That some small factoids. So, like apparently the radiation that comes off of thorium can be shielded with a single sheet of aluminum foil.
That's incredible.
It's 20 million times more energetic than a similar sized lump of coal. So if you had a lump of coal, like a coal briquette, and you imagine how much energy that gets.
20 million times that.
Same size.
20 million.
20 million.
Where do you buy this thorium stuff?
You got to know the right people.
It's fairly abundant, too. That's the other thing that's interesting.
Can you get it through Midas Resources at gold.freetalklive.com?
Go ahead, New Jersey guy.
Thorium is a waste product. Thorium is currently a waste product in the mining of rare earth metals for those fancy.
So China has it all.
They have a lot. We have a lot. We have a lot in our stockpiles. They actually stockpile it and bury it, and it's available. I mean, the government classifies it as a dangerous material, but it's not fissile like uranium. It's fertile, which means it needs to be bombarded with neutrons in order for it to become fissile.
Sounds like it might be dangerous to the power monopoly. Hey, thanks for calling about that tonight, New Jersey guy. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So that sounds like it could be a major decentralization kind of technology.
Nevada is going to be the place to be if this thorium stuff does hit, because it looks like at a map of thorium deposits, Nevada, Southern California, New Mexico, Idaho, all have a
somebody
lot of
owns all those deposits, right?
Well, the government, I'm sure.
We'll come back with more here. You can take control at 855-450-FREE. Likely the power, whatever.
There'll probably be a lot of jobs mining it, though.
We'll come back with more. You can share your thoughts on power or whatever's on your mind. It's Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.